To make this pickup more attractive, let's give it a rotation property, and we're going to have to generate a script for that. So with the pickup selected, let's go ahead and click on Add Component, scroll all the way down, and select New Script. Let's give it a name called Rotator. It's already using the C# language, so that's good. And then we'll click Create and Add. Alright, so if I were to go to the Assets folder, here is the Rotator script that I'm about to manipulate. But first, I want to put this into the Scripts folder. So I'm going to drag and drop this and put it directly into Scripts. Didn't let me do that. Let me try that again. Here we go. Put that directly into Scripts. And now I select the Scripts folder. Here we go. There's Rotator. I'm going to go ahead and double click on that. Of course, you know about the preview. Let me double click on Rotator, and that will take me directly to the script area. Okay, if we were using forces, then we would have to use the function called fixed update. But we're not using forces, so update is okay. So place your cursor over here. Okay, type transform dot rotate parens new vector 3, this guy right here, tab, parens 0, 0, 45, 2 parentheses with a semicolon. So here's what we're going to do. We are affecting the transform of our pickups. And how are we going to affect them? Well, we're going to rotate the pickup. Now, how are we going to rotate that? Well, that involves X, Y, and Z axis. But specifically, I don't want to rotate the X or the Y axis. I want to rotate it about its Z axis. So I use a vector. So what this is basically saying is it's instantiating from this class an object of type vector 3. What is a vector 3? It's something that holds an X, Y, and Z axis. And so what this statement is doing is it's saying, let's make sure that we transform this object by rotating it, and here is how we're going to rotate it about its Z-axis, 45 degrees. Now, to make this rotation smooth and also independent of frame rate, let's go ahead and multiply this times time. So what does this say here? Time says the interface to get time information from Unity. Okay, so that's what I want. Dot, and then delta time. Right here, what does this thing say? The time in seconds it took to complete the last frame. Yep, that's what I want. And then I can go ahead and, I already have the semicolon at the end. So what this component does is it makes sure that the rotation is smooth, and whatever the frame rate of your computer happens to be, it's going to be independent of that. Let's save our work by clicking File, Save, and now let's return back to Unity and enter into play mode. Nice, you can see the rotation looks really good. Let's exit out of play mode. Okay, at this point, let's create a folder to contain all of our prefabs. So over here where it says Assets, I'm going to right-click and create a folder. Or I could have also clicked on the Create button and then click on Folder. And I'm going to type prefabs. Enter. All right, so what I want to do is to create a prefabrication of this object so that I can drag and drop multiple, or make copy and paste, I should say, or duplicate, and then spread them throughout the game area. So first of all, let me go ahead and move the mouse wheel down a little bit here so I can zoom out. And my intention is to place one of these over here, over here, over here, basically make a circle of these collectibles. All right, so the first thing that I need to do is to drag the pickup into the prefabs folder. So I'll take this guy over here from the hierarchy. I'm going to drag and drop it right into prefabs. And so now over here in prefabs, you'll see that it's located inside that folder. Now let's create a new game object so that it will contain all of our pickups. So what we'll do is we'll click on Game Object, click over here where it says Create Empty, and then over here, instead of the word Object or Game Object, we're going to type in Pickups, plural. Press Enter. At this point, you should notice that the transform should be at the origin, and if it isn't, you can always click this gear drop down, click reset, and then everything will be changed such that the pickup is now at the origin. Now let's take the pickup sprite and drag it into the pickups area here. Good. And now we can take this pickup. So first of all, of course, you want to make sure that pickups is selected. And we can place several of these around our game area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this guy over here to move the selected objects. And we'll just move this over here, say for example. And then if I want to duplicate that, I can hit Edit and then Duplicate, or Command D or Control D if you're on a PC. So if I say Duplicate, and then I can drag this one over here, Command D, I'm going to use the Command D to place a bunch of these around. Oops, sorry. Select this guy over here. Here we go. Command D, and move that around. There we go. Command D. Place however many you want. Command D. Command D. So what have I placed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, a total of 9 of these. And let's go ahead and save our work. All right, let's enter into play mode to see what these look like. So I'm going to enter into play mode, and as you can see, all of them are rotating. Looks pretty good. The next thing to do is to make sure that we can actually pick them up when our UFO collides with these various objects, and then we also want to keep track by creating a counter to let us know what our score is. So I'm going to get out of the play mode and get ready to do some scripting. Let's start off by making our player activated again. So select player, and let's go ahead and click the checkbox over here in the inspector. And so now our player is activated. Let's go ahead and generate script, or modify the script for the player object. So we want to make sure that player is selected. I'm going to scroll down and locate the player script, controller script. I can click on this drop down gear, and then we'll click on edit script. Alright, what I want you to do is to press enter a couple of times and place your cursor over here towards the bottom underneath where it says void fixed update. And you're going to type in void on trigger enter 2D. Parentheses, collider. And we're looking for collider 2D, so there it is. Let me just double click that. And then we'll type in other as the parameter. Open and close curly braces. Press enter, tab here. All right, so anytime that we want to detect a collision, and you know we are referencing the player right here, right? So this is, let me just go back over here to Unity. We're talking about this guy right here, the UFO, which we're calling the player. And what we want to do is any time that there is a collision with this player and one of those pickups, we want to be able to jump over here. This is the function that it jumps into when a collision takes place. Other is the pickup that we actually made a collision with. And so what we'll do over here is we'll have an if statement that says other.gameObject dot compare tag, and then within parens quote we'll say pickup. So let me explain this. First of all, let me open and close parens, or open and close curly braces I should say. All right, so what we're doing is this. We're going to say, oh wait a minute, sorry about that. I forgot a second parentheses for this outer parentheses here. What we're saying is this. If a collision took place, did that collision take place with one of those pickups? For example, when I move the player around, it's going to collide with this wall. It's going to collide with this wall, this wall, this wall. I don't care about those collisions. The only collisions that I care about are when we actually collide with the pickups, because then I want to disable them and have them disappear as I gather as many as I possibly can. All right, so what this does is it says, okay, if a collision occurred, right? So on trigger enter 2D, that's a collision occurred, and so it's been triggered. Now, if that collision just happens to be a pickup, which I have to change these tags, I haven't done that yet. For these guys over here, I have not called them pickup, but I will in just a moment after I finish this code. Now, if I happen to collide with something that says pickup, then what am I going to do? I'm going to say other dot game object dot set active false. So that's equivalent to doing this. If I selected the player, say for example, and if I were to, let's see, if we go back over here to player. If I selected the player and if I took this off, right, I'm deactivating the player. And if I select it, I'm activating the player. So that's exactly what's taking place over here, but for the pickups, for these guys over here, these pickups. So if I happen to collide with an object, and if its tag is pickup, then I want you to deactivate it. That's what this line of code does. Okay, well, let me go ahead and save my work. Save. And then I'm going to go back to Unity. And what I need to do is I need to set the tag for all of these. So I think what I'll do is I'll go over here to pickups. And currently it says tag untagged. So if I click on this download, or click on the drop down, I should say, and then over here, I'll notice that it says pickup, which is exactly what I want. But if you don't see pickup, especially in a future game, then you'll say add tag, and then you'll hit the plus symbol, and then you'll type in whatever you want, which in this case, let's say that you wanted the tag pickup, and then we would click save. But I don't want that because I already have a tag that's called pickup. So let me just click outside here, and let me go back over here to the pickups. And then you see over here it says untagged. I want all of my pickups, all these guys over here, to have the same tag called pickup. All right, so if I select any of these, let's see here. Let me go back over here. Select. Oh, actually, you know what? I was gonna say if I select any of these pickups, we should see that it has the tag pickup. But what I did was I selected the hierarchy. That was my mistake. What I should have done is I should have selected the prefab. So if I go to prefab, because anything that affects or anything that happens to this guy is automatically going to be affected or automatically affect all of the other pickups because these are children of this one parent, which is what the prefab is. So I should have done this. I should have said untagged pickup, and now if I select any one of these, now you can see over here that each of these is a pickup. So sorry about that. I was thinking prefab, but I clicked accidentally in the hierarchy. So actually, I'm kind of glad I made that mistake because now you know not to do that. If you want to affect every single one of your children, which that's what this is, the pickups is a prefab, and these are all the children. So then you just select the parent, and then doing something to the parent has an effect on the children. All right, well, let's see what happens. Let's go ahead and enter into the play mode. And let me move the arrows around and let's see what happens when I select. Uh-oh, okay, it looks like it bumps into it, but nothing happens. Okay, so let me exit out of play mode. Okay, to make it so that the pickups disappear when there's a collision, let's do the following. So first of all, I'm going to select the prefab, and let me go over here to the inspector area, and you'll notice over here that it says is trigger for the Circle Collider 2D. Remember, we placed circle colliders for each of the different pickups. By selecting this, what you're saying is this can be affected, this can be triggered. So now let's see what happens. When I go into play mode, and then let me go ahead and use the arrow keys. Ah, nice. Okay, so every time that there is a trigger, which is affected by a collision, then each of these different items gets deactivated. Okay, perfect, it works fine. And of course, since you selected the pickup and then you selected is trigger, that means that each of these individual children pickup objects also is triggered because you are affecting the parent.